Welcome, my friends, to the second part of my conversation and channeling of my higher self. We are all magnetic or electromagnetic.
Hello, my friends.
In reality,
This is
the
Hosanna
reality
from
itself,
Egypt.
the source, we all
This is
come
the
from the
second
source.
episode of
But
my
what is the
dialogue with my
source?
higher self.
The source is a type of
Thank
like
you.
a mainframe computer that it created itself by itself. And anything, it has like eight sides and 6 different workers working on it, like six different beings, like programmers. The one main programmer is neutral. It doesn't have a gender, but for it to understand itself, it separates into like a male and female. And the point of creating like transgender people is it also for it to understand itself. So it creates along this creation process lots of anomalies so that it wishes to express itself in a form. When it expresses itself in a form, it has a better understanding of its own anomalies. It is perfect on its own, like what we call the supreme being, the main one. It is just a consciousness. It is not a being it is not something having form, because it only takes forms when it started an expression form. But in its reality, it is like a seed. It is like a seed. It only takes form to understand itself. That's why it creates itself. The 6 different programmers are 3 males and 3 females. Regardless of the nomenclature, but we can call that one is the supreme being, which is like an energy, neither a feminine nor a masculine. And we have the creator beings and the preserver beings and the destroyer beings. These are like this consciousness has classified itself, the supreme consciousness, the supreme being, the neutral particle, the neutron. I will call this supreme thing, energy, the neutron. So it creates the consciousness of creation, the very same consciousness of creation is called the creator. It personifies and creates itself and identifies itself as creators. And you have the preservers. These are the beings or the aspect of that supreme energy or being or computer which seeks to understand itself, which is the preserver. So we create, it creates. Then it needs to preserve this creation. So there is someone who preserves, like an aspect of this consciousness or particle It's just computers. And there is what destroys this creation, so that when the program, the supreme program, the supreme creator program has fully expressed itself in certain experiment, with all of its variables being expressed and finally understood, this program has to be destroyed, like a matrix, a holographic matrix, has to be destroyed. Some matrices are partially destroyed, others are fully destroyed. So they are these aspects of the supreme computer cell or consciousness which destroy. Some destructions are partial, other destructions are total. Then this consciousness, this PC software starts another cycle of experiments to express itself within given sets of variables, new sets. So another creation starts. It keeps all the memories because it's like a mainframe central PC. This PC, it keeps all the memories of all experiments done. And these experiments are for the sake of this creature, this program software, to understand itself, to have more consciousness of itself, to know itself. How does it work? How does it work? You know, some friend told me a chocolate doesn't know itself. So we all can identify it like a chocolate. We all know that it should be sweet, not dark chocolate, but anyway, it's like it wants to know and to experience this attribute of sweetness. We're talking about like a galaxy now. It wants to know and to test this quality, this aspect of itself. It wants to test this aspect and this quality of itself. So it creates something like a being or some way. It seeks a way to express itself, and the other way for it to express itself, it has to be having this way to be able to measure this expression, to feel it, recognize it, feel it, taste it. We are now talking about the quality of taste. So it has to create a way for itself to experience its own self. So it's like a metaphor now. It creates something of its own self, of certain qualities and aspects and prospects, so that it would be able to know itself. So in that way, by that means, we are all computers. like a computer. It is a real computer. It's a software. And what is happening to us is that we try to choose certain aspects that we desire to experience in this given quality. We measure life by a certain time unit. We created time. It doesn't exist. So I'm channeling now. I'm sorry for the delay. So if this computer has different levels of expressing itself, if we are to classify, it created a hologram. So nothing is real in existence. It created a hologram. This hologram is like, it has 7 main levels. It expresses itself on the fully manifested physical, which is the root chakra. Then another level is the sacral, which is like the solid and some consciousness in it. And we have then that level of the solar plexus chakra. Is like, it's a physical with some attributes of consciousness, and a willpower was added to it. That is the third level of creation. Then that third level, which the earth is the third dimension, in which the planet Earth is or was resonating with it in the age of Pisces. Okay, then to this willpower, some emotion were added, some emotions. So that PC was testing the quality of emotion, that main supreme being, supreme program, God particle, whatever you call it. So it added that aspect. So it started with the solidity, the physical, the pure physical. Then it's like a yeast, a single-celled creature. Then we added some form of water, some form of emotions. So that creature started to feel. Then we added the willpower as an aspect to be tested. So it started to not feel, to have a will. Like, I feel, I exist, I feel, I will. To have a choice, a free choice, a free will. Then, wait a second, I just want to support my back. Then another quality was added to the experience, which is emotions, which is resonating with the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension is a realm of love. Whether you love, and we added 2 variables, either love or fear, which is the fourth dimensional reality, or the fourth level of experiment. When that creature, that PC software tried to express itself. So the fourth level of the experiment was adding, so it's like a physical creation with the ability to feel. Then, so this is now the first and second dimensions, root and sacral chakras. Physical, I exist. I feel like, okay, or I am an animate, I'm an organism. I am then the willpower, to the ability to want something, to will something. That was to be tested on the third dimension. Then to choose love or fear. These were the two variables set for the fourth dimension. When that PC or software or tried to express itself. Then the other variable that was added, it was the ability to express itself. So it was the throat chakra. Throat chakra is known for expression, to have confidence in oneself. So that was another aspect that was added to the experiment. And it created the fifth dimension. It's expression, self-expression. Okay, then the sixth dimension, the sixth aspect that was to be added to this mixture of existence, it was the intuition, the sixth chakra, which is related to the third eye. It's related to imagination, the ability to create. Then the crown chakra, which is the seventh aspect and the highermost aspect of all, in which the experiment begins as a bunch of signals, a bunch of electric waves. So we receive ideas in form of electricity. Then that was the first and also the final aspect and the beginning aspect of the qualities of that mainframe PC creating existence. So the ideas first come as electrical waves. It's an electromagnetic spectrum of existence type, okay? So ideas are electric. Then still they are electric, but they take form in the third eye, which is the sixth chakra. I'm doing it like upside down. So the crown chakra may be called the first chakra, because creation for a god, for like a being, a self-realized being, would start in the crown chakra like a wave. But when you have a cause to create something, it also, all the chakras take part of it in this process of creation. So it's the idea. I'm talking about the I don't know how to say it. This is a god creating, like, not a god. I don't want to call it a god, because spirituality is only a way to self-realize. What's beyond the spirituality is what I'm saying now. There is explanation. I'm just explaining this. So the traditional way for this PC, that mainframe thing that creates us, it's that the crown, it sends signals. So signals, electric signals that are translated in the second or the sixth dimension, that create the image of the thing that it wants to experience. Like they like creating aspects. It's a set of mathematical algorithms. Then going to the throat chakra, it's that frequency where it starts to be expressed with the, like, adding the sound. So it's until it reaches the sixth chakra or the second, like the third eye, it is only light. Then it goes to the throat chakra dimension so that it would have a sound. Can we say that sounds like a blue? It has the frequency aspect of this color, frequency range of blue, like this shades of blue. Then we have that energy. It's all energy. So it's like an electric. Then it is like images, electric signals in the crown, in that dimension where it's just signals. Then these signals create images in the third eye chakra, which is the sixth or the second chakra, depending how you measure it. Then it starts to have the quality of sound, to express the quality of sound. Then that sound, which is added to the thing to be created, it starts to love itself, to experience love, whether to like it or not to like it. So when you like it, it is love. When you do not like it, it is like hate or fear, things like that. Then it gets to have the free will until this, the heart chakra, this is the fourth, and is whatever you measure it from, it would be also number 4. So it is adding the magnetic quality to the creation, or the creation getting magnetic. So it is magnetized. Okay, so when you hear like crying of magnetic service, you know that it is out of love. It's functioning out of love. We are all just computer softwares and programs. Then you start to give a willpower, that aspect of the willpower, to be created, to be experienced by the creator and the creature themselves. So it created experiments on the physical level. The first 3 levels are purely physical, but it's a physical plus spirit, plus like electromagnetic fields and like more subtle, more high vibrations than the first two chakras, like that are the root and the sacral. I don't know where I'm going. Then the creature, the creation. So this is the solar plexus chakra. The frequency range is the color yellow. The heart chakra is green, like the frequency range is green. So the heart chakra is also the beginning of adding that magnetic spectrum to that aspect to be tested or to be created or to be experiencing life. Then also for a creature to be appearing, to be created, it has to be vibrating with certain frequencies of all these aspects, like the root having a body. It has to have certain amounts, like it's being created. It was a bunch of signals, then having a image, a form, which is just virtual, is still to be created. Then adding this sound to it, sound quality, self-expression quality. Which is I know from that. I think I remember that light for sound is a very low frequency, is a lower spectrum of the light frequency. Yeah, it's a bit denser. Then we have the it has, all creations have frequencies, have been created that way. Then after we start to having forms and adding the bunch of waves, having images, then adding sound, expressing itself, loving itself, then free will, that creature having free will, then having the life getting created, infusion of everything has water in it. Or maybe the process of creation. I'm not sure. What is this second dimension about? I'm meditating on the answer. Okay, it doesn't matter. It's like adding fluidity, life. And then we go to the root chakra vibration, which is the densest dimension of all. So this dimension is about the thing having form and dense, and the second, or the sacral, which is vibrating at the orange, frequency spectrum, orange frequency light spectrum, which is a bit lighter and is about energy. This dense creation had more energy and had a bit more consciousness, and it can procreate for itself. Can we say that things in the first dimension are inanimate? Yes. I don't know what is in the first dimension. Mainly objects. Maybe creatures. Tiny particles are also creatures having consciousness. What is the point of all this? It's because we want you to understand. We want you to understand what is it that you might be experiencing in your life. It also is a matter of choice. And also to throw the light on the process of creation, that people has to be warned that they sometimes unconsciously create things that they wouldn't like to create or manifest, because they have to be aware. They are not aware that they were creating. When you were young, you used to imagine things, and sometimes you could have no control over what you were imagining, and they used to happen, and you didn't know, you were unaware that you were creating these things, these situations, whatever, these negative things that you were creating. I also want to throw the light upon how magnificent is it want to be alive, the blessing to be alive, to be existing and in full expression of yourself, alive. This is really a true miracle. And also to throw the light on how important is it that one knows how to create. It is very simple. You're creating things every day in your lives. When you imagine like a burger sandwich, or you were hungry and you imagine that great meal, I don't know, I'm a vegetarian, I don't know about you, but you would imagine like that chicken or that pork or something, or anything you'd imagine like for eating. You are creating this reality, and it depends on how much energy you hold, you give to this image to manifest. It's like a signal. Then that signal translates to an image. That image, every chakra, like when you feel like you want it, this is the solar plexus working with what you love, which is the heart chakra, showing you what you love. Then the third eye, which is collaborating and showing the image, you know. So you create this and you put this energy. For how long you hold this image inside of your third eye, how long you can keep it undistracted so that you manifest it, and how much energy you put from your Okay, so the energy now comes from different levels and different chakras. You put the willpower and you I don't know how one. Sacral chakra is related to obedience. So when it is closed, one is obedient. So I'm thinking how my guide and higher self is just asking me to give him chance to maybe translate or buffer because the information is very fast, and he is asking me to give him a chance to buffer, or maybe I'm the one buffering, like a difference in speed, slowing the speed down so that I can explain it in words. It is giving me and showing me the lotus flower. Okay, that is eternally. I'm seeing the image of the lotus flower that has its root down into the bottom of the lake. Yeah. So these dimensions are the bottom of the lake. Yeah. And how is it? Okay, so it's getting feedback. It has branches and roots from its root, giving it feedback. Every single creature in existence in these 7 dimensions, and these are the main divisions, and there are further infinite subdivisions to them. Every single creature matters because it is giving an information feedback. So these 7 chakras that one has in his body, whatever his shape is, these are all like serve as information collection points. Okay, so they're telling me that the sacral, it makes things animate, like gives more energy so that the creature can move. Okay, and moving then the solar plexus so that it can has willpower. Then I explained it. Okay, so we are all like sensors. If you come to this example, if you go back to this example about that chocolate trying to taste, to know itself. So that PC is trying to evolve, upgrade itself. So it creates lots of holographic matrices with every matrix to test a certain quality. And all these creatures are, I don't know what do they call it, but there is a minute. Okay, so can we call them? These are like minute particles that collect information, or these minute particles, they are existing on every point in the body of the creature, whether it is an etheric or a physical, an animate or an inanimate. Okay, so this software, I'm receiving, I know this information, but I am now receiving this different aspects, the different descriptions. So every creature, even in the very same creature's very same body, he has like a sensor points. So the connection between the source and the creature is not in one way, it's that he is created and that's it. No, it is that he is created, he is sustained, and he has different stages of life, like a baby, middle-aged, then a senile, yeah, and then he is destroyed. Either he ends or he gets destroyed. Whether it's a natural, when his job is done, when his experience, the point he has come to experience is over, is finished, then he dies. Or maybe if he gets sick because of any imbalance in the energies governing his existence and dictating his existence, or maybe because of a virus, which is also a type of energy. A virus, it can be like a biological, or it can be an energy virus. And it's very, very important for us, these viruses. These are incalculated, like energy rubbish that comes out of heat, out of excess. Anything in excess, it creates anything in excess. Some softwares also, they get spoiled on their own. Some also dead, like not, it's like a spoiled energy because it was not connected to the mainframe source. So they act in a weird way and they become a virus. And they become a virus and they start destroying the other parts of the hologram, which is also taken account of. But sometimes, or maybe this time, I am one of the engineers, one of the computer, these six, I am the main being, the main consciousness incarnated in human form to fix an error that has happened and disconnected live dimensions. Like it disconnected the whole third dimension from the source. It was some sort of a virus, which is dark. You know, everything is light, but this one is dark. It got created I don't know, what is it, by mistake? It wasn't a mistake, it was a certain experience. But that experience took more than it should. And whenever we try to end it, it did not want to end and created a new sort of a virus. Okay, and that virus, we can translate it in your words language as the demon. Demons? Yeah. And it was an experience that we created about what if someone knows, if we give him the information and he takes this information and he tries to build his own, to use it and act as the creator. And we gave him the ability. He could access more information. And we gave him the free will. So that he could act. He could act freely as he pleased. And it was not, we do not call it a he or a she, because everything is like neutral. So it was a particle coming from the mainframe that had the ability. It was assigned to certain tasks, but it was giving more ability and energy. It was more potent than the others. So it went astray. I'm channeling directly. I'm thinking of the words as I'm receiving them, or as I'm understanding them, as they get translated from my energetic field into image and words. They are just like electrical impulses coming. Okay, this is like a two-way. Creatures go to spirituality or meditation to consciously open that two-way connection. So you usually are subconsciously connected, but for you to be consciously connected, you have to open that way, to clear the path, to awaken these roots. I call it roots because I see it as a veins that they are there, or maybe they are not. They are there, but they are not working. Maybe they need to be wired. They need to be awakened. They need to be, along with time, the later one gets in the spiritual awakening, these veins, these wires, they get atrophy because of the lack of use. So then they get atrophied and they start a process of their own degeneration. Yeah. So that creature, that self, that, I don't know what to call it, that particle that was a copy of this, the mainframe particle in the computer, the mainframe computer, the God consciousness, the source. That copy, it was assigned to a certain task, and then it had more power. Then something wrong has malfunctioned in its frequency, and it had it created a virus, and that virus tried to just shut down the lower aspects of creation and disconnect them from the source. Certain it was like it closed certain if you see, like, there is something that some veins that give energy and sustain life, and for the lower parts of the creature. Okay, so these are like the root, the pure physical, and the sacral, and the solar plexus. So he closed, that virus closed the higher aspects of these dimensions and these creatures in these dimensions, in the lower 3 dimensions up till the 4th. And that virus, it reached till the 4th dimension. Some parts it has taken. The creatures are only physical, and they could reproduce, and they could eat and drink, but they had no ability of love and compassion. It created a different level of experiences, like the old ones. Like he was going back to the old. It was an old version. When the mainframe started, the source began, it was experiencing the lower dimensions, existence first, like physical animate with free will only. But this creature, it was an older version of the system, and it kept for itself the ability to love, hate, like its upper 3 chakras. I will not say that it had a 7th, like crown chakra, working, like it was not receiving signals from the source. It had received its signals, and it cut its connection from the source, and it began functioning on its own, that was the virus. And it began creating hierarchies and systems and programs and religions, and manipulating ETs like the Anunnaki and the Alpha Draconians and the reptilians and the Greys. All those who were disconnected from the source were evil, and they had no ability for love and compassion. They had no ability for compassion, for feeling. They could harm, and they would not feel that they are harming. They caused huge pain and suffering and destruction. Because of this is the race created by that particle from an old programming that went astray, and it cut itself from the source. It kept its vital organs nourished, as well as all the creatures he created that would get supplied of energies from him, not from the source. And this he was connected to the source some way, unconsciously, because it is inside this. It acted like a cancer. It has different programming than the cells of the body, and it's set to destroy. So it created like antibodies. It created like antibodies, like antigens. It created antigens destroying the healthy cells of the whole organization of existence, these seven realms of existence. Yeah, and that's why I was sent. That's why you were sent. You were sent to destroy these, to destroy him. And you have all the ability that you need, all the why do you call it him? It's because it has chosen the dominant part. It has chosen to be a male part, not a female part. It was a virus that has this. It was like an old program. It was an angel, like a server. It was a server of this mainframe, like this main particle, that this neutron that we talked about. And I don't know, targeted the feminine side. You know, like a neutron has a proton and electron inside it. It had like a certain electromagnetic affinity towards that negative part of the neutron. And it started to make sparks with it. I'm saying her and him. Why is it? It's because that you do not see it as like computers, as particles. It's because you are targeting a creature you manifested as a creature, which is a him. It is which made and invented what you suffer from in your society now as the patriarchy. It created these religions that based on the not unbalanced, totally unbalanced religion. It's saying that or dictating that men are more powerful than women. Men cannot survive without women, because a neutron, the God particle, the God is positive and negative and neutral in the same time. He was favoring the positive because he was the positive, and he created societies, to lots of societies based on this, that the negative, the positive is more stronger than the negative. Does that mean that he has a negative of a feminine aspect too? Yes, he has. And he reverses it so much. But we have female demons or whatever. Yes, they are so powerful. These not like demons, these are like alpha draconian angels who then fall from source, and they became, in your language, demons, and they created all evil creatures that go against the the rules of the source. They created a different matrix, running its own by its own and feeding on that mainframe source matrix. Yeah, and the supreme being programmer itself, I don't want to say I don't know, it has opened a neural channel pathway going backwards, like reversed. It strengthened it, like it was in you. It had a very, very powerful crown chakra, and it had a very not very well established or working properly root chakra. And that's the reason why you're suffering from what you're suffering from, the problems, the health problems you're suffering from, because you're not well grounded. Okay, so you have been chosen to open this path. We have chosen you, and you have chosen us. When we give signals, and you have shown a very, very strong affinity to receive and curiosity to receive these signals, and you were opening like a two-way connection is related to consciousness in the brain, and you were very certain souls were chosen to carry that task, and we said we will choose the most appropriate one. And we have been doing the same with all these. Were there 6? Yes, 6 on this planet, because it was targeted more than other planets. It was heavily targeted and destroyed. So we were choosing someone to be our delegate to open this, like this experience, that we would give her or him this information. And so it was an experience. We created these bodies. We fortified them to have these strong connections in their. It's related to the mind and the brain and spiritual psyche. And from these 6, you were the one. And there are others, but not in the same level of receptivity as you are. You were the one, the almost the only creature who showed this behavior, like being curious and wanting to know more, and who accepted her mission. You did not have free will from the beginning, and you could not have normal life so that you would get distracted. And we started going with you like step by step, gradually. We first didn't let you know anything, but you could still hear us. Then we started introducing things like magic and witchcraft and things like that. Then we started introducing the fact about spirituality and you're being different. Then you were coping with us, and you were following us, and you were you were thirsty for more information, and you thrived for increasing this connection. Then we started about these topics of star seeds, and we were giving you real information. You could sense everything, but you didn't have enough self-confidence and enough, you're not grounded enough. We need the disconnection to be that way. You were not grounded enough, so there was some sort of like a misbehavior or something in your whole system, your whole lower system, because it was affecting the whole systems of almost all creatures in this disconnected, in the areas disconnected from the source. Creatures were born sick because they were disconnected from the source. They only connected in a certain way that their physical development, sacral, and that's it. They also, the creature has established regimens, religions, so that the creatures, when they live under his rule, it wasn't unfair. It was very unfair. They would you know very well, because you are one of, you have been like a victim of this society. You get born with closed crown, third eye, throat, and heart chakras, and the religion further forbids that one creates like sexual relations and things like that. And in Christianity also, polygamy is prohibited, and it is not supposed to be that way. One is supposed to be free. One should be free. Getting back to what we were talking about, you were receiving more information than the others, and when faced that virus, it tried to make you, to destroy you, to get your problems. It tried all what it could, but it couldn't reach you, because you were from the source, and you have chosen this path. You have chosen to manifest, and you have lots of copies manifested with the same, like, but you have, what do you call it? You have mutated a lot, but you have 6 or things like that. Six copies or 6 creatures that you manifested. When you tried to manifest, you manifested from the source into 6 beings were chosen. But from these, you were the one who could succeed until this moment you could succeed in this moment, until this moment, in keeping up and in receiving. You could handle the energies, because these creatures of the lower dimensions, which was disconnected from the source, they could not handle such high energies. They would die. They would not be able to get connected to the source. They would get having like mental illness and going crazy and showing strange behaviors, strange mental behaviors, and they would die. But from these 6 creatures, we worked with them and on them to fortify them physically, to be able to receive these high frequencies and these transmissions and these energies. And you were one of them. I'm telling you about yourself, so that because you have asked and you do not know why you are different. And it's going to be very different. We have given you instructions to connect, to use the codes, certain codes to connect the lower dimensions with the source, and you succeeded. They got connected. Despite all these evil creatures are trying to do, we succeeded. We got connected. We got connected. So the source is now connected with the lower dimensions in a way that information would descend. It was always like the information, the energy was only supporting their lower chakras, and they were taking the energy mutilated by this virus from the old system that we call Samael. I don't know, you call it Satan, you call it Azazel, you call it Zeus, I don't know, whatever you call it. So now we connected these lower realms so that the connection is a conscious reality, so that their uppermost chakras would work. They would start healing and have their crown, third throat, and heart, their heart chakras working. It started in the fourth dimension. It reached also the fourth dimension, because these creatures that he created in his kingdom, that evil one, these creatures did not have an open crown. They could not receive signals from the source, and that affected their loving ability. It was closed. It was turned off. He played with their DNA and changed them, mutated them. He closed these abilities. He wanted to control. It also wants to revenge. It also wants to rule, to the lust and the jealousy. It does not know that it is one. It is one of us. And because it showed like misbehavior, and we sent destruction signals for it. But it was mutating every time to survive this destruction. It could have and access certain source codes so that it could resist, mutate to resist the destruction. And it has grown inside of this holographic matrix. And it was only an experience, or always an experiment. It's something new possibility, but it's still in an old system, an outdated system that needs, still running, and we need to shut it down. And thank you, you have helped us. You have received the signals, and you were able to translate them. You did well, Dear source, I have a question. It's now me, Hosanna, talking to my higher self, or like what you call it, the source. Who created you? We created ourselves. So you created yourselves so that you experience yourself. From the logic of a human being or an incarnated angel, from the logic of a human being, like a lower logic, it seems for me strange, this is my own opinion, a being that nobody created, which created itself to experience itself, and the virus, what a weird story. But it is the truth. It is the truth. It is the truth uncovered, unchanged. We tried to simplify it as much as we could so that you can understand it. And you have shown very well you've done a great effort of receiving us. In the end, we are all nothing but a consciousness trying to express itself. That's it. And so it is. Thank you. We are all magnetic or electromagnetic. In reality, the reality itself, the source, we all come from the source. But what is the source? The source is a type of like a mainframe computer that it created itself by itself. And anything it has like eight eight sides and 6 different workers working on it, like 6 different
Alright, my friends, that has been my channeling, the second part of my channeling of my higher self. I thank you so much. I wish you the brightest of blessings, of light and love. And this episode is to be continued. Thank you and namaste.